Yo, YouTube, what's good with y'all, man? It's your boy Q back at y'all again with another video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes, man. So, quarterback Brandon Sorby, man, of Texas Tech, the guy that was putting in bets, on his own team. He has been officially eligible to play college football this season, and it's gotten the internet kind of in a little frenzy, man. I ain't gonna lie. We got to talk about this, bro, because now you guys all know how I feel about this gambling shit. I mean, ever since the NBA, all the sports leagues have adopted this gambling, shit where gambling has become legal now, and people are betting on the games. It's been an issue for as long as I could remember. If you guys can remember the referee back in the day that was betting on NBA games. Um, Terry Rozier was betting on the games last year. Chauncey Billups was betting on games last season. So really become an issue. You know what I mean? Throughout not just college football, but throughout sports entirely, man. But this makes college football look a little suspect right now because this dude was gambling. I think he took out like what over like 40 some bets or whatever the case may be. He was gambling next, and then all of a sudden, Buddy's able to come back and play football. And when Terry Rozier did the shit, not saying that I'm excusing anything Terry Rozier did, but I was close to the situation because I'm a Miami Heat fan, as you guys can see on the wall. But my whole point is, if you're going to do it to one person, you do it to everybody that breaks the rules. And it seems to me like this dude, Brandon Sorby, was really, really gambling for real. Like, he was gambling. But let's go ahead and look at this article, man, about Brandon Sorby and his situation. College quarterback who bet on his own team allowed to play in the landmark ruling. NCAA files appeal in court. Brandon Sorby's lawyer argued last Monday that the NCAA should have reinstated the Texas Tech quarterback to play this upcoming season due to a impairment, gambling being tied to a mental health disorder. So basically, what I'm hearing is from just reading that they're saying that the reason why the man was betting the way he was betting, they're blaming it on mental health. So 2026, whenever somebody does something wrong or whenever somebody breaks the rule or something happens, it's mental health. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. Anyways, the squabble between both sides had been ongoing since the NCAA was alerted that Sorby had placed numerous bets on his own football team while enrolled at Indiana. So I'm assuming he wasn't starting at the time. Okay, starting with the 2022 season, along with thousands of other wagers on different sports. So when you're a professional athlete, you cannot bet at all. You're not allowed to bet. This dude is betting not just on his own team. He's betting on different. He's just betting. Not supposed to be doing that. On Monday, Judge Ken Curry ruled that the case attorney Jeffrey Kessler presented was enough for Serby to be granted a temporary injunction by the court. The court finds the applicant has demonstrated that he will suffer a probable intermediate and irreparable injury if the court does not issue the temporary injunction, because he will be unable to participate as a member of the Texas Tech University 2026 football team. My thing is, though, with Brandon Sorby, right? If he wasn't as good as he is, would they still let him get away with what they're letting him get away with? I just feel like it sets a bad precedent, for, the kids in the future, especially with the NIL deals and all that. That's already been an issue. Now you guys are legalizing gambling. At this point, you know what I mean? You guys have to pick one battle. You guys are fighting way too many battles. I just think it's ridiculous how this dude right here, you know what I mean, can just gamble on his own team. Let's look how many. Let's just keep going, man. Let's keep going. So Brandon Sorby admitted to gambling on Indiana and Cincinnati basketball game while enrolled at the two schools. The quarterback, through an affidavit filing, admitted to placing at least 2,900 wagers for more than 30,000 during his time at Bloomington. Of those, through his own admission, 40 were on Indiana football while he was on the scout team. So come on, bro. Like, you can't be serious, bro. He has the inside scoop to everything. Sorby wagered at least $190,000 since enrolling in college. This dude has a problem. He's a gambler. Sorby's transferred at least $60K to his friends to place bets on his behalf. At least 2,900 bets were placed while at the Indiana, more than $30,000. From September to October 22nd, he placed 40 bets on Indiana football, totaling at least $850. From October 2022 to November 2023, he placed at least 50 bets on Indiana basketball, totaling $1,400. So this dude just has a gambling problem, and like I said, man, I think the NCAA missed. I think the NCAA. I ain't gonna lie. Let me get back on the camera so I can talk. I ain't gonna lie. I think the NCAA botched the whole situation. They botched this whole ruling to let this guy come back and play football after betting as much as he's betting. You're gonna set a precedent that these kids that are coming up now and that are on these scout teams that aren't making the NIL money that the star players are making on these college football teams, they're going to try to gamble. They're going to try to make their money some other way, bro. They're not going to just keep sitting in their dorm rooms and eating cup noodles all the time. Because Caleb Williams didn't have to do that. Drake May didn't have to do that. Arch Manning ain't going to have to do that. They're already making millions of dollars. They're already pulling up in Lambos. It's just a bad situation, man, for the NCAA entirely, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and see what Pat McAfee had to say about this, and I'm going to let y'all go.
If you could fill in the gaps and also let me know what today means. So a judge, the second judge that was put in for this case, heard everything and ruled that Sorsby is allowed to play, and also said the NCAA is prohibited, actually, from stopping him from playing. Can you tell us more about how we got here and what we think this means for a precedent going forward?
Well, Pat, thanks for having me. This is certainly an unprecedented day in the history of college sports, and I don't want to sound overdramatic here, but gambling has always been a thick red line, and the fact that Brendan Sorsby, who admitted to placing thousands of bets for $90,000, including 40 bets on his own team while he was at Indiana, the fact that he is going to be or has been legally cleared to play college football this season at Texas Tech is simply something that we've never seen before. And it's the latest manifestation of one of the biggest issues in college sports right now, Pat, which is local rulings overruling what the NCAA rules are supposed to be. And this one feels the most significant, Pat, because gambling cuts different than a medical red shirt, than an age argument like the Bediako case, for example. I don't think I've gotten more text on my phone about a breaking news story unprompted ever, or certainly not in the last 5 years. I mean, my phone did not stop ringing. And the general tenor, Pat, around college athletics, I would say, is one of disgust. One Big 12 AD texted me today, "We lost our soul today." And look, there was a lot of hyperbolic reaction to this, but gambling had always been I joked it was like the Good Will Hunting thing. You hit a cop, you're going to jail. There were always significant consequences for gambling, and that changed today because of this. Now, Brendan Sorsby's case, argued successfully by Jeffrey Kessler, who is often successful against the NCAA, laid it out very clearly. They laid it out as a mental health case, and they won. The NCAA is expected to appeal this case. Now, whether the timeline of that appeal matches with when it matters is what remains to be seen, correct? Like, the NCAA could get a hearing in February, and Brendan Sorsby will have to combine. He doesn't have to go. It doesn't matter. It would be rendered moot, and that had always been sort of part of the expectation with this. Is if the temporary injunction was granted, then once the injunction was granted, he would roll and play, and then everybody would kind of move on. So we'll see if the timeline of that gets expedited. in Lubbock County. I've certainly reason to be skeptical of that, but yeah, this is certainly a day, Pat, that is certainly going to have ripples for a long time.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. If the NCAA allow this dude to get away with this shit, bro. If the NCAA allows this dude to get away with this, all this gambling, all this money wagering, you might as well call sports rigged, man. But yeah, man. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes, man. And y'all let me know how y'all feel about Brandon Sorsby and his gambling situation and him being allowed to play college football this year. I would like to get y'all thoughts on the situation. But other than that, I'm out, man. I'm going to get y'all on the next video. Peace.